The devil's advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's the sinner? Who's the saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
All right, everybody. I'm not even used to my own intro. I got a clusterfuck trying to fire it off, and then I got a cluster at the end. I will figure this out. Somebody wave at me backstage, make sure that you guys can hear me. Perfect. Sounds great. So sorry about the false start. We will get this rolling right now. Hopefully I can talk normal. I keep biting the hell out of my cheek. I had a tooth extraction. See, I can't talk. Had a tooth extracted on this side. I'm biting the living piss out of my cheek on a regular basis. So my face is starting to swell up. My tongue hurts because sometimes I bite my tongue. The whole thing is going sideways. Hopefully I can get that bridged here soon, and then I'll be back to some kind of normalcy, whatever the hell that means. Got a full panel tonight. I got Dago backstage. I got Robin backstage. I got JJ backstage, and that is in no order of sorting. It's just that's the order. I see them on my screen. I usually bring them up in the order they queue up backstage. So that's the way we'll do that as well. I feel like we're down somebody. Oh yeah, we're down 1-1. What the hell is 1-1? We've had very little communication. Hopefully things are okay. We're really not hearing much about 1-1's condition today. So hopefully things are okay in that neck of the woods and that we see him. Hopefully Robin maybe can tell me what's going on, but I don't think we have a lot on that. We have got a lot of things queued up. Mostly, let me tell you a few things real quick before I bring my panelist up on stage. Last night at about 1 o'clock in the morning, which is a normal thing, Pullman Police Department. Obviously, I think police departments are a 24-hour a day kind of thing, right? You never not need policing. So the Pullman Police Department likes to send me messages, emails at about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Last night at 1 o'clock in the morning, they dumped on me about 50 gigabytes of body-worn camera footage from police officers of the night that Brent Copaka was shot and killed in Pullman, Washington, a month and a couple of days after the Idaho 4 murders. So needless to say, it was a discipline to not start diving into hundreds of hours, who knows how much is there, of body-worn camera footage, because I don't even know, how to sort that much data. This is kind of like along the lines of what Ann Taylor said of literally we've been given terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of data that is like the size of the Library of Congress. We couldn't possibly process all this. That's kind of like what it was on this. And that's okay. That's what I asked for and what I got. Let me tell you another thing that's kind of cool about Pullman, however. You know what Pullman didn't ask me for? In excess of $20,000 to fulfill my request. I got it for free. I got charged nothing for 50 gigabytes of video body-worn camera footages from police officers for nothing. I think I've paid Pullman now a total of $4 for some photocopying fees on some documents that they're still preparing for me. So is that a difference? Is that going to hold true all the way? Are we going to not have to pay anything, next to nothing, for Washington state records and pay thousands and thousands of dollars for Idaho records? Well, ChatGPT tells us that may be the case. That's the way Idaho rolls. Washington state tends to be very giving of public records when you request it. Idaho tends to fight people. Surprise, surprise. Could it be why the murder happened there? Because they don't fucking talk to anybody about anything? I don't know. We'll see. Idaho is sending out stuff, right? They're just charging people $900 to see 1 hour of video. And I just got hours and hours and hours of videos for free. So take that for what it's worth. Let's bring the panelists up and then we'll get into some of the details that we've got going on, some announcements for later on in the week, which is exciting, and all those good things. So Dago first, cameras off, microphones muted, but hopefully he's there because I'm going to bring him in the order that they're queued up backstage. Dago, what's going on?
Forget about it. How are you tonight? Good to see you guys. Thank you for having me again, and thank you all for being here this evening. How are you?
It's always awesome to have you here. Excited as usual. I didn't hear from you much today, and I was kind of a little bit worried, like, oh shit, we're not going to get Dago tonight. But I think you're pretty committed. Whether just because I don't hear from you doesn't mean you're not going to be first queued up backstage. So that's very, very cool.
Here, I try to be as prompt as I can be. I just had a crazy day today. Like I said, I went live with Typically Unique at noon. Then I did my show, and in the very end of my show, I had a little bit of a thing happen, and it's dealt with, and I'm here. So,
well, hey, I'm glad that you are here. And my days have been insane. I did have a user say to me just recently, "Holy crap, dude! I hope you take this with the right way." But you are putting out a shit ton of content. I don't know how you're doing it. And I'm like, yeah, I am kind of putting out a lot of content. I got a lot of long form videos and stuff like that.
I do the same. I get it. I hit 2 million views today, sir. 2 million.
Oh. Nice. We just hit our 1 million view anniversary just a little bit ago. So congratulations on 2 million. That's amazing.
Thank you, and thank you. I was in the middle of having a little bit of a meeting with the mods, and I was like, holy shit, we just hit 2 million views. Boom.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Congratulations. That's great. You're well deserved too. You're great show. Let's bring Robin up here as well. Robin, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing well. How about you, gentlemen?
Wow, your sound is crisp and sharp tonight. Like you just came on like full volume, and it's all beautiful. It's great.
All right. Good deal.
We're doing well. Now if we could just find out where the hell one's at, like he's just missing.
Yeah, I messaged him, but he hasn't answered yet. So, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, hopefully he'll be along here.
Yeah, for ure. And
maybe he's busy with work, maybe.
I mean, he does have a full-time job. I know some people don't think he's really a cop, but he really is a cop, and he does have a full-time job, and he has a family, and he has children, and yeah, he's I don't know where he finds the time to do the shit that he does. So if he doesn't make it, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna cut him a little fucking slack. Is what
100%.
All right, let's bring Joe from State of the Deep up here. Joe from State of the Deep, how you doing tonight?
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Joe?
Joe.
Casual Tuesday night.
Good to see you guys. What's up, Den? I'm in a little bit of pain. I threw my lower back out today, and I'm hurting.
Are you visiting my mom or what? Sorry, it's self-deprecating. It's usually like, dude, I threw my back out visiting your mom.
Well done. Well done.
That was a good one. Yeah.
I'm just going to roll with the red face tonight. I'm not going to mess with my light.
Fair enough.
Just going full devil's advocates.
It's just a good tan. You got a good tan, Joe.
I'm just going with it.
It's all good. It's thematic, so it's all good.
Maybe I should.
So we got the full panels. I want to let people know real quick before we start diving in, because I feel like we're going to spend some time tonight on Idaho 4. I know it's a real freaking shocker, and we're going to spend some time with Brent Copaka. We're going to spend some time on that, and I've got about 20 minutes now. I don't know that we're going to show it all, but I got about 20 minutes of little clips spliced up that I'd like to play a clip and then talk about it, play a clip, talk about it. It's about 20 minutes of clips taken from a 40-minute. So about, it seems like half of this thing I had comments about. You know me, I have comments about every freaking little thing, but I want to run some things by you live on air without you guys knowing where I'm going with it all. and see what you guys think. In addition, I want to tease real quick before we get too far into this. Make sure, by the way, that you like, subscribe, and follow the channel, because what I'm going to tell you is the kind of stuff you do not want to miss. Don't miss the opportunity to hit subscribe right now, because what we're going to have on Thursday night is Ali Benevento, a criminal defense attorney of, I think, over 20 years, a criminal defense attorney in South Carolina. Beautiful woman, super, super smart. And she literally is going to be on live TV, on Court TV, the first hour of our show. And then she's going to get off of live TV with Court TV and Vinnie Politan on that show and come over to our show right after being on TV. She figures, hey, why not? I'm already going to be in TV mode. I'm going to be dressed up for TV. I'll just come right over from Court TV to our show. So we're going to have Ali on the show Thursday night. It's a special treat. And so I want to make sure my panelists know to be here, because for the first time, I'm going to try to invite Ali to come on with the panelist and let our panelist interact with Ali and ask her some questions. Usually it's just me and Ali, or Ali and I, however the grammar works out on that. It's usually just the two of us, but I thought I'd like to get her to be introduced to our panelist. And I think it might be better in the long run for Ali's very, very busy schedule. She's got court cases that she obviously is working, and she's also on TV all the time. So with all those things, I think we're just going to try to get Ali to drop in from time to time on our shows when she can. So if she can get used to our panelist and whatever, then when she has some free time, maybe on a Thursday night or when she's on with Court TV, she'll just make a routine of coming by and staying a few minutes with us. So cross your fingers that we see a lot more of Ali Benevento. She's a great addition to the show. We're going to talk to her, by the way, about Brian Kohberger's Idaho 4 situation, and we're going to talk to her about Luigi Mangione in particular. So those are the two topics we're going to talk to her about. She does not have as much of a time to keep up on the cases as she used to, so I'm not even 100% sure how much she's kept up on the Idaho 4 case since Brian Kohberger pled guilty in that case. So we'll see. We're not going to blindside her with questions. We're just going to ask her general questions about things like appeals and defense and things like that she can just generally talk about in general terms. Ali Benevento, by the way, is a person who thought that the Brian Kohberger story didn't make any sense. So if you're wondering where she lies on that, she thinks it doesn't make any sense. She does believe in the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. She does question the official narrative really, really hard. She's damn near a conspiracy theorist. In fact, Ali tells me a lot of times, she goes, I love a good conspiracy. So she's among friends in our channel. All right. So what I want to do is I want to introduce, well, first of all, let me ask before I get on to the Brent Copaka footage that I've got, which actually is not Brent Copaka footage. It's Jordan, a roommate of Brent Copaka's on the night he was shot. And I do want to caveat before we, what I want to do is I'm going to explain a little bit why we're talking about Brent Copaka so much, explain to you why we're talking about Jordan's interview. But first, is there anything you guys saw on the news today, or maybe Dago with your live, anything that's kind of out there in the wind that you want to talk about later on after we get past this stuff? Is there something we should be making some time for?
Not in particular. My show today, I was just complaining, pissing and moaning about the prosecution doing whatever they want. In some senses, not following rules and me not trusting them. That's what my show was about today. Oh, hi, there I am. And that was pretty much all I was covering today.
Okay.
And we on Typically Unique, we covered some Cy Ray stuff and all that. That's truly about it, though. That's about it.
Cy Ray stuff is very interesting. Did you have any new kind of stuff about Cy Ray, or just general thoughts about it?
It was just the generalization of all of that, and what was what, like Kim was just bringing up what happened with the affidavit that he put out, why we went into that kind of a conversation. It was really interesting. And how it affects the case and how it will affect when it all goes down. Sorry.
Yeah. Real quick before I go on to ask Joe and Robin if anything they have, I did notice that mask behind you, and somebody said, is that a mask behind you? I saw that creepy cool mask behind you. It's got the big smile on it there. It's kind of sideways.
I'm a horror buff. I went to school for theatrical makeup and special effects.
Really?
To do all the ugly, crazy, weird stuff in movies. So
nice.
I have a bunch of these. You can ask my crew.
Nice.
They hate me sometimes because I have a tendency to go live and I'll just start throwing masks on and SRV really hates it when I do it because she has a little fear of some of the stuff. So I'm just one of them people, you know.
Well, that's such a cool. I get to know Dago a little bit more. I'm sure your fans all knew this already, but it's very cool for me to get to know another part of your personality and
I'm
the
all
horror
over the
movie
place,
stuff.
but yes, I'm a musician. I play with toys. I have toys all around me too. And I do makeup, special effects makeup, and
Slimer.
Cool.
Slimer from Ghostbusters,
I collect all sorts of different toys, and they're everywhere.
Scooby-Doo.
I'm a huge Scooby-Doo fan. Huge Scooby-Doo fan. And that's not why I got in true crime, folks, before you ask me. I'm just saying, but I have a lot of different things I'm involved in. So yeah.
How about you guys, Robin and Joe? Did you see anything in your adventures today, either a live that you're watching or a long form video or anything like that you stepped on and put your foot in something?
Not.
Go ahead,
I didn't today, but I do just real quick want to say hello to the Blue Crew and all the meatballs from over on Dago's channel. You guys love it when I'm seeing you guys in the chat right now saying hi to you and stuff. So always great to have you guys over here. Love it. And I was too busy at work today. I didn't even get a chance to look at hardly anything. So yeah.
Hey, it's been a day for me too. I've been super busy. We'll come back to that comment here in a second. Joe, did you have something you were starting to say too?
Well, I wanted to propose an idea. I hit up one about it on Discord, and I might as well just do it live.
Do it live.
There we go.
I think that we should consider doing a GoFundMe to hire our own audio video professional, like someone respected, and have them analyze a lot of the footage to number one, see if the video's been manipulated. And number two, the audio. Now, we all have our speculations. I told you what I thought about the 1112 video. It sounded like effects. I don't think I was on with Dago when I brought this up. You know, he's a musician. I'm a musician. It sounded like it had either like a ring modulator or some type of a phaser effect on some of the stuff that was making like that like garbled sound.
Yeah.
But you know, you're right, Joe. I talked to Outcast. He does a lot of the sound stuff on there, and he said there's layers upon layers on these videos that he's like pulled off of it basically, and he's finding different things in this, and he's using just simple like BandLabs and stuff like that to go in and find this stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with BandLabs, but it's a real cheap, easy to use music thing. But there's a lot of that stuff in there. He believes. So yeah, I think that'd be a great idea, truly a great idea, Joe. Honest to God,
because it almost sounds like, and I think I might have even mentioned this to Birdie or commented on this, like there's two layers, right?
Mm-hmm.
One is laid over the other, and it's almost like one of them sounds like it's in reverse or something, but that could be a phaser, gives that weird kind of sound, and a ring modulator. It's like a filtering effect. But if we got somebody totally independent, you know, that could analyze it, and this way we know we did our due diligence and we got somebody on board and potentially could use in the future. I know it's ambitious, but you know, we get all this footage, and we see all this footage, and I just saw one the other day posted. You guys might have seen it. I think one sent it to me, of someone with the captioning over that 225 or whatever.
I saw a lot of the captioning.
Yeah.
Right. Now, obviously, that's interpretation of it, and you don't know if someone's projecting onto it or it's been manipulated or whatever. Just a thought, just an idea, because you know, you got to take things into your own hands if you want to. And we all suspect, I think we can all agree, that there was a lot of manipulation.
Big time.
I've had
people come into my community twice now I've had the same comment come from two different people that they believe that the audio was manipulated by the military, possibly because of the type of manipulation they believe it was. And I said, well, I don't know, because I don't know that stuff, but okay. Very possible.
Because what consumer level stuff is nothing compared to what the government and the military has access to. It's not even in the same universe. That's a fact.
Absolutely.
Here's what I think. Here's what I think we'll do. I everybody seems to agree in the chat that that's a great thing. You guys think it's a great thing. I think I know Robin has a full-time job, but she kind of serves as kind of like help me out with some of these things. I think what we'll do is Robin and I will draft some emails to some sound studios and ask if anybody basically on a side as a side gig wants to maybe give us a little reduced cost or something like that for helping out a true crime with analysis and stuff like that, and lend their professional credentials. There may be somebody who's willing to do it because they're a lover of true crime and it's a side gig. So maybe we'll put some messages out to some sound studios that have sound professionals and say, hey, we're looking for somebody who's got qualified credentials that we can say gives their expert opinion, right? Yes. So yes. I think we'll do that. We'll reach out and see if we can find somebody to help to find and I like credentials. I like receipts. People that aren't just, again, not to shame YouTubers, because the YouTubers can be really good at doing it, right? I'm not trying to shame the YouTubers, but it would be nice to have an unbiased, if you will, professional just lending their professional opinion, who's not vested to say, oh yeah, it's definitely, you heard this. Like, just say, hey, I think it is or it isn't manipulated. It's all you need to say. Do you think it's manipulated or not?
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
Just
and nobody can say,
put it out there, let them interpret it. Don't tell them, just
don't lead them to the conclusion. Right.
We want them to give their honest opinion about, and someone like that would have that super professional grade kind of equipment that could really get down into the minutia of what's going on there.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm sure we could all research it and find out if it would be an audio video analyst type of a thing, like forensic analysis that's very specialized, or if it was just a sound engineer, because sound engineering, it's a little bit different, than analyzing the stuff forensically. And so
the videos, Joe, too, we've seen some things in the videos that seem to be covered up as well, like the flash pop in front of the window across the street and things like that seem to be kind of faded out. So if they're going to look at it all. And another point I was going to make real quick, if I can, is that like you said, YouTubers are great, and I love the YouTubers that do what they do, but this way nobody can say, well, you had them do this and you had them do that. This is a professional that's completely out of the scene. They can do it. You know what I mean? So I think it's a great idea. Right. I really do.
And it could be used with other cases. Bridge guy. It could be used with.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think we can draft up a kind of a generic thing that we're looking for somebody for a regular, kind of side stuff to help out with the true crime channel that can lend their credentials. And you said, we can use it for Delphi. We can use it for any case that has questionable, what do you hear? What do you see in this video, to just give their credentials of whether they think it's manipulated or not. Absolutely. It's just an opinion, but it's nice to have a professional opinion.
But a professional, right.
Yeah. So speaking of professionals, we got one professional law enforcement that is going to step up with this on camera, and he's sucking on the cigar. Don't worry. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. One. How you doing?
Hello. Good evening.
Senor.
I was worried. I haven't heard much at all from you today.
Oh, you're lighting.
Busy making some meatballs.
Meatballs.
Forget about it. It's the fugazi.
All right, so look, let's get into some of this cool stuff right away. But by the way, do you have anything you want to share with us about anything before we get going, or do you want to do your monologue?
I know I'm a little late. I figured you would just. I'll skip my intro. I don't want to hurt your vibe. So.
Okay, you don't want to harsh my vibe, man. Don't harsh my vibe.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a throwback from the day. Harshing my vibe.
Yes, it is. I feel like I'm back in Florida on my skateboard. Jesus.
Yeah, I feel like I did Spicoli.
You're right. Dude.
Yeah, man.
But on a side note, before you jump into, I know you were busy working all day. some Idaho, on Copaka, and I'm actually curious to hear about all the stuff that you got. We are gonna have an early plug. I know it's only Tuesday. We are gonna have a special show, I think, on Sunday on Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
And I got I kind of got a weird thread to pull on it that
you do.
Would be right up. I don't know if JJ has seen anything about it. Just it's kind of like a whole MK Ultra kind of thing. So it'll be interesting. Just as a side note.
You threw me for a loop on that one. I'll tell you right now. I was not prepared for that.
It's funny because
bring it on, 1-1.
Yeah, it's funny because I have interest in that topic, but I have no time for another case, and I realize that's an old case, but I love that you guys are doing that because in particular, I was telling, 1-1 and Robin about this behind the scenes. I'm like, my concern is that if you guys are going off on completely different research, you're like, what if it's a case you're not even following? I'm like, that's not a bad idea. If you kind of cover something that I'm not following that way, it's not like I feel like I'm getting left behind in my own cases because I don't want to feel like I'm behind in my own cases. So, yeah.
It's interesting. I did it a month ago, and I really fell into that one head first, guys. And when we talked a little bit about it, so I told him I'm down if you guys are. So, hey.
Yeah, that'll be good.
I'm
Very
down.
Cool. All right, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about. Anyways, no, let's talk about.
Bye-bye.
Are you leaving? We just got to the good shit.
Yeah.
Anyways. No, let's talk about Brent Copaka. And again, so I put in a public records request with many entities. I've got all kinds of letters. Those who have watched the show for a while know that we have a GoFundMe account that we're funding all kinds of FOIA requests. By the way, I got an email today. Oh, there's so much going on, guys. There's so much. I got a response from a FOIA officer from the federal government saying, hey, we have found all your records that you've requested for Brent Copaka and Brett Payne, and we're assimilating that for you, just letting you know it's going to take a little bit of time, but we're working on it. That was exciting. So they've acknowledged that they're working on that. To my surprise, last night, I got 50 gigabytes of raw police footage, body-worn cameras of the night that Brent Copaka was shot. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be here for forever. There's so many videos, right? There's so many videos to go through. So what I did is I watched one. I couldn't help myself. I just took the very first one, which happened to be an interview with one of Brent Copaka's roommates, Jordan. I think his last name wasn't said in the video. It is on a piece of paper. Robin knows the last name. Dago knows the last name. I don't know that's a secret. So if you guys want to share the name, go ahead.
It's Baker.
Okay. So I tell you this. I'm gonna give you some clips from this video of this interview because when I watched it, I thought to myself, I'm a long-winded bastard and I have something to say about fucking everything. Okay. And so 40-minute video. I did like an hour and a half, 2-hour live for members only. I'm going to tease to you guys some members only thing. I feel bad for my members because at one point I said, by the way, this is the kind of shit I won't be talking about on the public side. It's for members only. I'm like, oh, you feel special. We're getting some completely. There's a part of the members only stuff I'm going to share tonight, but a lot of it I'm not. So as a tease, you will get a lot more in the members only view for $3 if you want to pay it. But I'm going to share you a little piece of the members only stuff as well here. Actually, I'm going to share with you quite a bit, but there's a particular piece that I told him I probably wasn't going to share because it's too much, right? So hopefully we're going to have audio on this. I've taken 20 minutes of clips and I've spliced it up with little screens like this to kind of remind myself of what's about to happen. This first little clip I'm going to play is Jordan, the roommate of Brent Copaka, who claims that night that he called the police because his roommate Brent Copaka was having an emotional crisis. He says that he has PTSD, he has schizophrenia, he says has bipolar disorder. This is all Brent Copaka. This individual, by the way, Jordan himself also says he has schizophrenia and other mental disorders. So it's an interesting story. But I want you to just hear this little short clip of what he says during this interview with a chaplain from the police department and an officer, and my reaction to it. And then I'll pause it when it gets to the next black screen, and we'll talk about this as a group, and we'll make it full screen when we get past this. So let's put it full screen now. All right, and play this.
I feel like he died in vain because I think the public think he was a massive sociopath. But I think if the news could do something on him to say that he was a good person, but he wasn't this psycho killer. Unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, he also used to drink alcohol, so I didn't know if.
I got lots of comments. I mean, I was trying to figure out where to stop because I don't want to stop for every 2 seconds, but I got lots of comments in just that little short period of time he talked about. One, Jordan says that the public thinks he's a psycho killer. That's interesting. Again, Moscow Police Department got tips that Brent Copaka may have been the one that did the murders. And this guy, his supposed roommate who says, I know him really well, says the public thinks he's a psycho killer. Well, why do you think he's a psycho killer? Again, nobody was killed in this standoff. So what killings are we talking about? And later on, he'll talk about how they're going to think, yeah, we got the killer. What killer? What killing is he talking about that the public thinks Brent Copaka did? So my mind has to ask, how many people thought Brent Copaka was the killer of the 1122 King Road residents? All right. So what do you guys think? He actually, let me clarify what he said. He actually said, the public thinks he's a sociopath, and then he says, but he's not a psycho killer. So I kind of worded it a little incorrectly when I said, he said the public thinks he's a psycho killer. What he actually said was the public thinks he's a sociopath, and they're gonna think he's a psycho killer. It's a slight nuance, but I believe in trying to get it correct. But
yeah,
what do you guys think? Jordan literally is saying the public has the perception that Brent Copaka is a sociopath or a psycho killer.
Well,
who did he kill?
He's referring to the Idaho murders, obviously.
Yeah. Well,
I think so.
What I would say to that, I mean, I think there's enough evidence, stuff that I saw. I think Copaka was involved in some, whether I don't know if he was high on the chain as a drug dealer. I do think he was involved with the drugs, and he obviously was. We know his training from the military. So I wouldn't say he's a psycho killer, but he's trained, and with some people, some people will say that there's a price for anything. Some people have a price for anything. We don't really know enough about him. I don't want to say definitively. Oh yeah, we know this for sure. But if he was high, if he was definitely involved in that with the drugs and whatever, the skills that he had, it definitely seems like some of the injuries were definitely done by a professional. Is Copaka the only person in Idaho that could be trained in a knife? Obviously not. But, most of what we've seen are different people, suspects that have hunting experience. And as brought out many times, I know JJ talked about it, there's a big difference in having hunting skills and actually being trained to disable or take someone down quickly with a knife. Right. It's a very, very different thing. Two different animals. So two real quick things. Somebody said, who's Jordan? I thought I clarified it to start, but let me make sure I do. Jordan, who's being interviewed by the police officers, was a roommate of Brent Copaka's and was one of the ones that called the police and said, my roommate, Brent Copaka, is having an emotional issue and is threatening to kill us, his roommates. They came and they had a standoff with Brent Copaka that started on the night of the 14th and ended at about 4 o'clock in the morning on the 15th when SWAT shot and killed Brent Copaka in a standoff. He allegedly was firing back at the officers. That part is a little sketchy because there's rumors that there was no gunshots fired, but multiple times they talk about how he was shooting at people and that the officers shot him in response. Dago was shaking his head. He's got some thoughts about that already. What do you got? What do you got?
No. I'm sorry, but I do not believe that took place. First off, we have a huge discussion on this. I'm telling you, I do not believe that there was any bullet holes there. after the fact that he was shooting. They didn't clear the building. If you have somebody shooting into the walls in the building, you'd have cleared that building completely, and they didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's not. It
That is
doesn't
true.
matter.
Yes.
And one you've experienced.
They'd have to. Yeah, you're right. You're right. They'd have to.
I've seen this. I've been outside of buildings on standby going through things like this, and they didn't do it. So I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't.
So Dago, I got to ask the $1 million question. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, because I think many people have said there was no shots fired that night, and they've questioned the whole narrative in the first place. But both of these individuals, Jordan and the officer, seem to agree that there were shots fired. The officer says at one point, fortunately, nobody else got hurt other than, him. So he's kind of acknowledging that shots were fired, but maybe Brent didn't hit anybody. Like, are they all just? I mean, what is the answer to that?
Who heard him, Lee? Who heard the shots?
I don't know anybody that heard the shots.
Nobody heard the shots, Lee. Nobody heard shots fired. Nobody heard none of it. None of that stuff. And nobody heard it. And like I said, the building was not evacuated in a sense that you would do that. Like there was like 3 people that were moved, and it was dumb.
And we should get the actual radio call too.
I got him.
But that should be info. But that info would be the radio dispatcher. That's something that would be put out immediately. She would say that there's confirmed. Because there's a difference. Just so you guys know, not that obviously people call all the time, just saying, "Oh, it sounded like a gunshot," or "I think I heard a gunshot." There's a difference in someone calling 911 and when you have an officer on scene or EMS, a first responder on scene dealing with the radio dispatcher and says there is shots fired. The radio dispatcher would put that out immediately because all of the first responders responding, we need to know that we have to be in that heightened alert that we know, okay, there's definitely confirmed shots fired. So,
and I will tell you this, I do have an audio file that they gave me that's basically radio traffic, and I listened to a little bit of it. It is dispatch talking to officers and stuff like that. So we'll maybe be able to hear some of that. However, I do want to clarify, the incident did not start with a shots fired thing. Supposedly, he didn't pick up a gun until late into the standoff, and it was when he picked up the gun that he got shot. So we'll put that aside for the moment. Let me, because I know we're going to be here forever if I don't do this. I'm going to have to move us along, but I want to ask you one more time. What does it say that Jordan says the public thinks that he's a sociopath and a psycho killer? Does that mean it was out there in the public wind that people thought that there was a number of people who thought that Brent Copaka could have been involved with the killings in Moscow?
In my opinion, I think that's Jordan Baker trying to set a narrative is what I think he's doing.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
All right, let's continue.
That's what he's doing.
Let's continue with another clip.
And he was very paranoid. He was a very paranoid person. I mean, I remember many nights he would lock himself in the room, or he would vulture the doors in our apartment because he thought the government was after him, or police were after him, or somebody that wasn't even around was after him. And
so I just want to stop there again. I said I'm going to try to let larger portions go, but there are sections where I have to cover a lot of stuff, and then later on stuff that I'll let bigger sections go. But I'm a wordy bastard. You should know that by now. So he said Brent Copaka frequently would say that the police are after him, or the government is after him, or some random person is after him. So one can ask the question, was he literally just having psychotic episodes, paranoid episodes, paranoid schizophrenia, right? There's a reason why it's called paranoid schizophrenia, is that if you have paranoid schizophrenia, you believe that people are out to get you. So is it just the medical condition, or is Brent Copaka being fearful that the police and the government are after him? Is there a reason? Because again, there are rumors out there that Brent Copaka was being watched by the FBI, that they had been watching him for a while, and that they suspected him as being part of the 1122 King Road residence. So was Brent Copaka's alleged thinking the cops and the government are out to get him, his own paranoia or based on reality or a little bit of both? So what do you guys think? Is that just classic paranoid schizophrenia? There's an old joke that says, just because, I think that they're after me doesn't mean that they're not really after me, kind of thing. It's just like, is it possible that, yes, he thought people were after him because there really were people after him? Like, or is it just purely a sign of paranoid schizophrenia?
Well, this brings to mind that movie with Mel Gibson, Conspiracy Theory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember that movie?
Good.
Right. Where he looked like he was nuts. Yeah.
Really a great movie, actually.
Yeah,
I think underrated movie where they present him in the beginning of the movie as being this paranoid schizophrenic, and he's a cab driver. If anybody in the den hasn't and on Dago's side has not seen that movie,
go watch it.
I highly recommend it. It's a pretty big movie. Julia Roberts is in it. It's big name people are in it. MK Ultra is involved in that movie.
Yeah.
But my point is that he comes off as this paranoid guy, and it turns out the CIA was somewhat after him, so to speak. But it's the movie. Trust me, it's well worth the watch.
It's called Conspiracy Theorist.
I think it's Conspiracy Theory.
Or Conspiracy Theory.
Yeah.
Because remember, he had that little newsletter. I think was called Conspiracy. Theory.
Conspiracy Theory. Yeah.
I mean, he did every bit of. Yeah, he was paranoid as all hell in the movie. You guys. He even had his own special drink containers and everything.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
But to your point, DA, it's like. It's interesting. Was he really paranoid? Because if you, in abnormal psychology, what they will say is paranoia is based on unreal threats. Threats are not real. But I've even heard psychologists give the example. If you're walking down the street in the suburbs and you're diving behind garbage cans and hiding in bushes, you're probably having an issue. But if you're in Afghanistan and bombs are going off around you and you're diving behind things and you think you're going to be killed, then there's
reasons. Yeah.
That there's a reason for it. So
of course, yes.
The question remains, was he really, did he have a reason to be paranoid? Now, clearly from what I've seen, he was behaving as a paranoid schizophrenic would. But it could it be that alone, or could it be a combination of things?
And to go with that too, I just want to add something. Somebody that is a paranoid conspiracist, or conspiracy theorist. Sorry, I don't know what I just said there. I read an article one time about that those people can be created by people that are, I don't know how to even say this the way it was written. People that are going through the paranoia have been created in some circumstances by the people that they're being watched by. Okay.
Makes them go paranoid.
Yeah, it makes you go crazy in a sense per se. But also we do know that Brent went through a situation that he was the only one that made it out of, and it was some serious stuff to his head. Okay. So that can create a situation as well, you guys. Truly, the medical emergency he went through, that's what I was trying to say, that caused some issues to him. Very, very, very possibly could have created this situation on top of with that, is all I was going to say.
I saw Robin had smoke coming out of her head at a minute there. So I know you got something that you want to say, Robin.
Well, the thing is, how long had he been acting like this? Like, did it just start like get really bad right after the murders? Was he already acting like this beforehand? I mean, do we know exactly what his behavior was like leading up to versus right after the murders?
That's a good point.
There were some episodes, from my understanding, slight episodes before, but SRB made a statement in the chat that I wholeheartedly agree with, about thinking that Jordan made this worse. I truly believe this is what happened. Okay.
See,
I think that Jordan was aggravating him, messing with his head, things like that. Okay, that's truly what I think happened. But I think there were minimal episodes that were happening beforehand, here and there, and some of them I think were alcohol induced, things like that. But my
so it's
opinion,
not like he was really off the wall.
Not on a regular,
before this as a regular thing,
Not
like this. Okay.
And another thing we've talked about
could be a little of both too, right?
Yes.
I mean,
I agree,
just,
and
just
something
to say,
we
like,
talked about.
Well, I just gonna say, like, he very well could have this, paranoia and what he experienced in the military and all that, and then being involved, possibly, if he was involved in, any of the murders or homicides that happened in Idaho, that would just escalate it, because now he has reason to be paranoid. So now you have his paranoia plus anyone would have a little be reason like, oh, are they onto me? Are they,
and what was your point, Joe, too? Or?
Well, there's something I've brought up, two things that I have brought up on the show before. One is that book, The Fort Bragg Cartel, and where it talks about drug trafficking, murder, and things related to Fort Bragg, which is where 82nd, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's where the 82nd Airborne is based, in Fort Bragg. And the other thing is, we don't know what kind of operations he was on, and we're probably never going to know that unless a whistleblower comes from the military comes forward. And so if he's a decent person and he's put in a situation where he has to do bad things, that can really mess somebody up. If we don't really know what kind of person Brent Copaka was. People say he was a good guy.
Yeah.
He's decorated, but they don't disclose the specific operations necessarily, that especially if they're highly confidential operations. So there's a lot of aspects, and again, I'm not going to put the tinfoil hat on, but I'm just saying I can never get it out of my head that there's a quadruple homicide in this town where nothing ever happens, and then a month later, this decorated veteran a couple of miles away is killed in a standoff. It's just that one thing. I don't know what it means. I don't know if we'll ever find out what it means, but I can't get past that.
And there's no body camera footage, right?
Well, we're getting to that.
Is that correct? We're trying to get it, right?
Has anybody ever watched Jordan Baker's TikTok videos?
No, I saw that question in the chat. Did you, Robin? What'd you have real quick before I lose you?
Well, I just kind of had a follow-up question to that, is because if he's acting like really off the wall beforehand, anyone who's going to try to quote unquote use him in any kind of an operation, whether it be the government, whether it be cartel or anybody, if he's not reliable, they're gonna have second thoughts about using him to do anything, because if he can't be relied on, so that is one reason I was asking, because would anyone really want him involved if he's not reliable, if he couldn't follow orders, if they
unless they were only going to make him a fall guy, Robin. If they were going to make him a fall guy, he's the perfect fall guy for this situation.
Yeah, when you asked that question, Dago, about the TikTok videos, were you just reading a question, or did you have a comment about it too?
No, SRB put it in there. We've talked about it before. She's one of my moderators, and we had talked about some of the stuff that he's put out is kind of out there, guys. I'll just be honest with you. I've seen a couple of them, and I'm just gonna say they're out there.
I'm going to move us to the next topic on this video footage, but I hate to tease something, but I feel like I have to, because I don't remember who I tell anything to. I'm going to tease something. That I've been trying to pull the thread. It got triggered when somebody on here in the panel, maybe it was Joe, said something about, we heard that Brent Copaka is a good person or a nice guy or whatever.
Right.
I heard a story, and I'm going to tease it. I'm not going to tell the story entirely, but I've been trying to tell you that I feel like Copaka and Kohberger knew each other from Pennsylvania. I have had an individual reach out to me that says she and her husband lived next door to Brent Copaka in Pennsylvania, and they're going to prove it to me. They're trying to get the receipts to prove it. She claims her husband was good friends with Copaka. They did a lot of things together, and there's an interesting story that I would share when I get the receipts. But I'm trying to get the receipts 100% before I go with it. But I do have somebody, just letting you know, I have somebody who is telling me we lived next to Brent Copaka. So is it true? I don't know. I don't have the receipts yet. I'm trying to get the receipts. Or actually, I said, look, I need an address. I need something I can verify. They've given me enough that I'm like super fucking intrigued. Sure. But it goes to that question Joe said of how good of a guy he was. Because one of the stories that I heard, I question that a little bit. But we'll wait until I get the receipts on that. All right, let's continue on. All right.
And maybe he wasn't trying to kill me and my roommate. Maybe he, in his delusion, was in a different mind dimension of like, oh yeah, like maybe that person's a bad person or that person's a bad person. Because when you're schizophrenic, you're paranoid about everything.
I have to stop. There were rumors. There's still rumors. There is still rumors going around that the night of Brent Copaka's shooting, he was yelling something to the effect of, and I'm going to say it like 4 different ways because that's the rumors. Some people say Brent Copaka yelled something to the effect of, I didn't kill those roommates. Somebody else said, Brent Copaka said, I killed those roommates. Somebody else said, he threatened to kill his roommates. These guys, Christian and Jordan, being his roommates. So, and he mentions, maybe he wasn't going to kill his roommates. So what got said that night has gotten conflated. It's like a classic game of telephone. Did Brent Copaka say, I didn't kill those roommates? Did Brent Copaka say, I'm going to kill my roommates? Did Brent Copaka say, I killed those roommates? What was said is unclear. Now, if you were to take the totality of the event, most likely what Brent Copaka said was something to the effect of, I'm going to kill my roommates, right, which would be Jordan here and Christian, because that would make sense to what they're saying. He was threatening to kill us. That's why we called the police. He's threatening to kill his roommates. And yet, again, out in the rumor mill on the internet is, didn't you hear Brent Copaka said, I killed those roommates? Didn't you hear Brent Copaka said, I didn't kill those roommates. Don't kill me. I didn't kill those roommates. This game of telephone has been played with what exactly got said. I would say my gut instinct, I'm just going to be honest with you, is Brent Copaka threatened to kill his roommates. That's the story they're going with. And it's been conflated into what roommates was he threatening to kill. All right. So do you guys have any thoughts about the rumors? Dago's got to finger up.
Yeah, go ahead. I can't hear him.
Oh yeah, you're muted, bud.
Sorry about that. There's one more you forgot to throw in there, and I'm sorry, one. I didn't mean to jump over you.
That's okay.
There was one that it was sent to me long time ago and said I should have killed the other roommates.
Wow. Okay. So that's another
one that somebody sent to me, and I went, wait, what? So these are rumors, by the way, folks. It's not. We don't know that that's true, but when you brought all those up, I've heard all those, but I remember. I should have killed the other roommates is one of the ones that I heard too that you didn't mention. I just want to throw that out there for you guys. So I don't know. It could be any of those, Lee, in my opinion, or none of those. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta. That's the problem where we don't have absolution on what it is or what it isn't. That's how all that
and that's kind of why I was asking for your opinion. Do you think the simple he was claiming that he was going to kill his roommates that night got out there like a game of telephone and became over time, I killed those roommates, and it was just a misunderstanding of what was said? That's what I'm kind of asking the panel. I do want to address this crime circus thing in a minute, but I would still want your opinions before we go.
What about his friend, the friend that was again, it's still, you could say, part of the game of telephone, like you said, the friend that they interviewed, the one that you played the video in the past.
Darren Duncan.
Yeah, Darren Duncan. Didn't he? I remember his interview. He said that Copaka had threatened his roommates. So whatever info, I'm pretty sure that's what he had said.
Yeah, what I remember, to be fair, what I remember him saying was, I could see him doing something like that. Maybe he got drunk. Right. Maybe he said, if you don't turn your music up, I'm going to fucking kill you or something like that. Right. He was kind of speculating about things that Brent Copaka he would imagine Brent would say. Like, I'm going to kill you if you don't shut the music off. So it was kind of like a speculation thing. Right. Darren Duncan also stated that he believed personally that law enforcement thought that Brent Copaka could have been involved with the Idaho 4 murders and that they were a little over eager to shoot. And that's probably why he got killed, because they thought he was involved with the Idaho 4 murders. That came out of his best friend's mouth, that he thought that was the possibility.
Yes.
Real quick, I want to address this comment. Crime Circus did show a video where he talked about exactly where Brent Copaka lived in Pennsylvania and claimed it was within blocks of where Bryan Kohberger was going to school at his undergraduate studies, and theorized, did they live together even in the house? It's possible because they were in a 4-bedroom house, that maybe they lived together. That was a theory and a question. He showed the house that he said Brent Copaka lived in. And I reached out to Crime Circus Drip Drop and said, dude, what you just said is bombshell. I've been trying to prove Copaka was in Pennsylvania and I can't. Where'd you get that address? And I got silence. I got nothing. So I've never heard it. And since then, I think he's taken all his videos off the air about Idaho 4, I think. But so I don't know if we're ever going to hear that. But any other thoughts that you have? I mean, that probably, I think we beat that enough about whether or not it really was said, I'm going to kill those roommates, or I killed those roommates, or don't kill me, I didn't kill those roommates, or some kind of version. But you do hear Jordan saying, maybe he wasn't going to kill us roommates. So did it just simply get conflated over time?
I think Jordan's one of the major problems with the entire thing. That's just me.
All right. Well, let's get into a few more. We got lots of clips still left, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, because maybe, I don't know if you guys are enjoying this. Hope you enjoy it. But let's get a couple more clips here.
This is good.
Very interesting tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he would talk to walls. He would talk to things that weren't even there. I mean, all strong signs of schizophrenia.
Yeah. How long have you been seeing those signs?
Oh, I've seen it all. I mean, I just used to live in a mental health center. I know when someone is on the spectrum.
How long have you lived with him and seen those signs?
2 months. It would be every other day or every other week where he would just spiral. And
so again, this is where we hear Jordan say he's lived with Brent Copaka for 2 months. Now, why is this important? Because again, in June, I think it was earlier this year, Brent Copaka is on body-worn camera away from Pullman, I believe, and they ask him where he lives, and he mentions he lives in Pullman and he lives at the Pimlico Apartments, which is right across from where Bryan Kohberger lives, or lived, I should say, at the time of the murders. And Joe and I from State of the Deep went there, and you can throw a rock from, Pimlico Apartments to the Steptoe Apartments where Kohberger was staying at. So they're like right next to each other. But if I'm going to play devil's advocate with myself. If Brent Copaka was living at Pimlico Apartments in June, so July, August, September, October, November, that's 5 months later when the events or whatever happened. And this guy's been living with Brent Copaka for just a couple of months. So did Brent Copaka move from Pimlico Apartments near Bryan Kohberger to this new place on the other side of town at the Coffee House Apartments? Now, again, the counter to that is the Coffee House Apartments where the shooting happens had no furniture. There's no furniture. Even this guy will tell you during his interview that his stuff is all on the floor. Brent Copaka's stuff was all on the floor. There's no beds. There's no furniture. These guys have an empty apartment. And so this guy talks about having his stuff on the floor. You're going to find my medication on the floor. Brent Copaka's stuff was all on the floor. So why are these guys living in the Coffee House Apartments with no furniture whatsoever? Things that make you go, what's really going on? So what do you guys think about that? The lack of furniture in this place? Were they really living there? Was it a temporary crash pad? Did they have other places? And this was just what about that no furniture and all their shit's on the floor?
Well, when did we find out there was no furniture? Was that immediately after, or
when they did the whole standoff thing?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
body-worn camera footage of that night when it was
It
released.
shows
You don't know
you
how long, but when it was
nothing.
released, you could see them open the door, and there's no couch, there's no TV, there's no nothing, and it's like it's completely empty. And then Darren Duncan said on an interview, it was weird when we went to go to the place after they shot and killed him. He had no furniture in his room. He had no bed. He had no dresser. He had nothing. All he had was an open safe with a few of his discharge papers and some electronics. And his phone was on the counter, factory wiped. But he had no furniture, no bed, and so he thought, his best friend thought it was super weird. There was no furniture, and you can see it on camera. There's no furniture. And why does this guy say my pills are gonna be on the floor? Because all their shit's on the floor. There's no furniture.
Yeah, it's very weird, man.
It looks like it was set up and that like stage,
right?
In my opinion.
Yeah, I've said that, Dago. I've said like if it was some kind of burn put out on Copaka because he was involved in something that they didn't want to get out, and he was starting to go off the rails with maybe his behavior or if he had schizophrenia. That's a loose end. I know this sounds crazy, but crazier things have happened with people that have been involved with things that the government's connected to. Sure. I always go back to that movie with Tom Cruise, American Made. It's based on the book Dark Alliance, where the CIA was involved in drugs and gun running to fund black operations that they didn't want Congress to know about. Well, the guy, Barry Seal, the pilot, who Tom Cruise plays in the movie American Made, allegedly was killed by the Colombian cartel because he exposed them. But a lot of people think that he was taken out because he was working for the CIA and he was a loose end.
Yeah, you can't know things and be left alone. I mean, truly, that's just facts. And that's kind of like I said, I feel like it's possible that maybe he was supposed to, okay, let me go into a rabbit hole real fast, and excuse this if you don't believe in this, okay? It's just a thought that I've had because I am very open-minded. If he was supposed to, we all believe, a lot of us believe that Brian Kohberger has been framed, okay? What if Brian wasn't the original fall guy or patsy or whatever you want to call it in the situation? What if Brent was, because of his past, because of his issues, we'll just say, because he would be a very good fall guy for this type of a situation, and somehow or another he catches wind of something, which is what the rumor was, that his girlfriend or somebody, his sister or something like that, I can't remember clearly, I'm sorry, said they're going to try to put this on you, and it goes to his head and he starts flipping out. And they can't have that because then he's going to start talking. And then next thing you know, we got a sniper set up outside and pink, it's over. So I'm just saying.
I'll warn you right now. This video right here about the no furniture in this discussion is the precursor to me tonight on air falling down the rabbit hole and breaking both my fucking legs because I've got some shit for you coming up. I got some shit that I'm going to unleash to you as a thought exercise about what happened in that apartment and why there was a lack of furniture. So it's coming. All right, here we go. Let's go here.
So, but he was a good guy. It's just unfortunate that, I mean, as much, I know the news can only take and create what they gathered, but I really wish
at this point they just don't have much information.
They don't know much about the person. It makes me kind of upset that it just was this, oh yeah, we shot the killer, and it's just
see that they don't know much about him. All they know is, oh yeah, we shot the killer. We shot the killer. Killer of who? Brent Copaka hasn't killed anybody, allegedly. Exactly. The shooting that he did that night, if he did shoot at people, didn't hit anybody. The officer says earlier in this video, fortunately, he's the only one that was hurt. Brent Copaka didn't shoot anybody. So when he says they shot the killer of who? Who did Brent Copaka kill?
Thank you.
Right? Am I missing something? Am I just making shit up? It seems to me he just said people are going to say, oh yeah, we got the killer. Killer of who? What do you guys think about that?
That's where my theory comes from, Lee. I'm telling you, like he keeps pushing this narrative. Okay,
right.
At least, okay. I'm just saying, in my opinion, he's pushing this narrative repeatedly. Brent's gone. End of story. Brent can't defend that. He can't say, "What the hell are you talking about?" No. And now we got somebody else in prison for this. I'm just saying it fits in that box, nice and neat. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it was super quick statement he said. I know they're going to say we got the killer. And I'm like I said, killer of who? He hasn't killed anybody allegedly. So who do you think they're going to say they got the killer? Was the original plan to say he was the guy that did the 1122 King Road murders and we got the killer? Like I said, it's just,
how would this guy know that?
Right?
Thank you.
Never put out in the public as far as anybody being a suspect. They never said a name until down the road, because at the time that this Jordan is talking about this, Brian Koberger is on a cross-country trip with his dad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
literally.
So how did anybody say that there was any? Why would this Jordan assume that that's why they're after Brent?
And meanwhile, you have 3, 4, or 5 Moscow officers on scene during the Copaka situation as well.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Wow.
Thank you for the super chat. In an interview with other roommates that had a dog, he explains why the furniture wasn't present because of Copaka. He said Copaka was paranoid since he moved in. So you're saying that their cover story of why everyone in the house, including the living room, has no furniture and no TVs is because their roommate, Brent Copaka, was paranoid, so nobody was allowed to have furniture? I don't know. Is that what I'm asking the question? I'm not trying to be sarcastic with that, but thank you so much for donating and getting that up on screen. I would like to see the receipt on that one. Like, I'm not doubting you. It's true. Like, if that video is out there talking about the explanation for why they have no furniture, that's cool. I want to see that. There's more to come. There's more to come, by the way.
In my opinion, by the way, the other roommate's not very reliable either. I'll just say that.
Christian? Yeah. All right. Let's get another thing on screen here.
It was hard because sometimes he'd come home at 2 a.m, all happy, normal, and then out of nowhere he'd be angry and he would just be cussing.
So I want to stop a couple of things. Somebody here in the chat says, yeah, all 3 were placed in that apartment with government assistance program for counseling based concerns. Christian is an expert because he is calling the kettle black. He is schizophrenic himself. So you've got if that's true, and maybe we'll hear it on the interview because I'm going to have the interview of Christian, I believe, as well. Then you've got 3 schizophrenic guys living together with mental health issues, living together. That's fucking nuts in itself. And they're living together in a place that has no furniture, didn't meet each other until 2 months ago. All right. So I want to clarify because I didn't play the clip for you. Jordan, very early in this interview, says, I know about schizophrenia because I have schizophrenia. He says that. I've got schizophrenia. I know what I'm talking about because I have schizophrenia. Somebody in my chat says, oh yeah, you're going to find out Christian has schizophrenia as well. So you're to tell me 3 guys are holed up in an apartment with no furniture. All of 3 of them have schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and multiple mood disorders. This guy, Jordan, says, I just got out of a clinic being treated for my mental health disorders. And he also tells us he just got out of a cult in the weirdest year of his life, holed up together in a room with no furniture, the 3 of them all mental health patients. Is that not fucking super weird?
I just want to know who's there to light the fuse. That's all I want to know.
It's like, you're just asking for trouble at that
right.
But yeah, this is an interesting comment. Yeah, we're aware of this.
And MPD was there during the Copaka shooting?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard that.
Yes.
My understanding is that Chief Fry, Brett Payne,
right,
Blaker, and I think one other was maybe Gunderson was there during the situation.
Right. And why would they be there,
And of course I'll tell you why it would be. So here's my guess. It's my guess. They had a tip line. Moscow was flooded with tips about Brent Copaka. They're trying to pretend to this day that nobody's fucking ever suspected Brent Copaka and we're all a bunch of nutbags. Fucking somebody said AI right now is saying that Devil's Advocates is the creator of the Brent Copaka theory. That's literally out there in the wind.
Awesome.
Some AI is saying, well, this is a theory proposed by Devil's Advocates. I think Moscow Police Department thought Brent Copaka was involved too. That would explain why Fry is there and why Payne is there and whatever, because Brent Copaka might have been one of the lead suspects. And that's why the best friend said, I think they thought Brent Copaka killed those kids in Idaho and they were too quick to shoot. All of that shit would add up if Moscow and Pullman and everyone suspected Brent Copaka having an involvement in the 1122 King Road murder. Am I nuts?
And don't forget, Chief Fry had a relationship with Copaka. Previous to this, there was some kind of a past with issues with Copaka that Chief Fry knew him personally from. So
I know Copaka had run-ins with law enforcement. I didn't know if I haven't specifically proven he had run-ins with Moscow, but I've got public records requests for Moscow saying, have you ever heard of the name Brent Copaka? And does it ever show up in your records? I want the records that you got. And I know he has. I'll guarantee you Moscow has got plenty of tips on Brent Copaka, but did they have run-ins with him in the law?
So the question is, DA, why did they go out of their way and bend over backwards to steer away from the Copaka narrative that would have made logical sense to anybody to at least question it? And they buried that story really, really quick. It's very suspicious that MPD was there. So that implies to me, to Dago's point, that there were connections between him and MPD in some way, shape, or form. And I said it from being there with you. I was shocked at how close together the two schools were. And I was like, man, if I lived in this area, I would have been going to the corner club. If I lived in Pullman, I'd have been kicking around in Moscow too, because they're so close together.
They all did.
I'll tell you the answer. I'll tell you the answer that I think. It's a crazy sounding conspiracy theory, but so I'll just tell you, it's a gut hunch. The answer to the question, why didn't they just take the easy answer with Copaka, is this. I did several videos talking about the financial incentive. Money flows to get an arrest, bring somebody to trial, and get a conviction. It also helps with your conviction rates. It helps people make their careers when they get conviction rates. There's no money in prosecuting a dead suspect. Right. I think they had their eyes on blaming it on Brent Copaka, and they were planning on blaming it on Brent Copaka. But somebody fucked up and shot him. And then they were like, well, we need to move to a living suspect, because the funding for going after the guy will stop if the answer is simply, oh, it's this guy who's now dead, case over. So shifting it to a living suspect kept the money flowing. That's just a theory. And I've done a video talking about how it's kind of they're incentivized. Police departments and the whole system, the judicial system, is incentivized to go after living suspects, not dead suspects. As I teased, you don't get overtime pay to work a cold case on somebody who's dead. You get overtime pay to go after a living suspect and bring them to trial, and all the court costs that come in and all those bills rack up. And then the governor gives you $1 million to fight and find the killer, which happened in Idaho. $1 million was granted to them to go find the killer. If you've got a dead suspect, all that money goes away because it's over. So there's an incentive. So is it possible, to end my huge rant, is it possible Copaka was going to be the fall guy, but some dumb bastard in Pullman shot and killed him? Moscow police is on the scene. They want an arrest of Copaka to prove that he was the 1122 guy, and then somebody in Pullman shoots and kills him, and they're like, well, fuck, you just ruined our case.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocates with us now, with all of us, and this idea. Hypothetically, let's just say Copaka was involved. Then the whole situation with Kaylee gets a little stickier. The whole theory of Dylan getting Kaylee back to the house gets a little sticky. It steers the whole overarching narrative in a completely different direction, because then you have to start asking, well, how is he connected to that house? And did the other roommates know who he was? And if so, were they, for that reason, because this is a guy that maybe was a threat to people, and maybe maybe he wasn't just, oops, we shot him. Maybe he was taken out for a reason because he knew things that shouldn't have gotten out. If he was just by chance involved in the crime, then it kind of chips away at some of the other questionable things, like, you know, Dylan and Kaylee being brought back to the house for that event, and some of the other suspicious behavior surrounding this case. So my mind tends to go towards, if he was involved, he was a loose end.
Yeah.
And he was a perfect, you know, you could easily justify taking him out. Oh, he was threatening to kill people. You know, he was schizophrenic, you know. So I don't know. I wrestle with that.
Let me remind you guys what we talked about just the other night, that my mods and I went digging the other night and found that his ex-girlfriend lived at 1112 as a previous address.
Right.
Now, you can't get much closer to the victims than that.
Yeah, that's about 30 feet away from the front door.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what I was gonna say.
So,
who was the girl? Who was the girl that who was his ex-girlfriend? And the question too that goes along with that.
Her last name starts with an L. I always screw it up. I think her first name was Carrie. The last name was L something.
And was she, you know, what is her connection to the one, you know, the people in 1122?
No, that's her previous address.
Right. Right.
Lived there, how long? What was? Yeah, agreed. That's a very good.
But
point.
if he's going over there, if that's his ex-girlfriend, I mean, it's not far off to believe.
I mean,
that he could have had some involvement or something, you know.
Sure.
I mean, they had parties nonstop, right, all the time over there. So,
Whitney James with the super chat is gonna make me fucking explode my head, because yes, I have said on this show many times, I have a theory. Otham Labs developed the DNA on the knife sheath to 4 brothers in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. Brent Copaka has 3 brothers. His mother has homes in Pennsylvania. Could it have been Otham Labs developed the DNA to Brent Copaka and his brothers, his 3 brothers? They went to one of those brothers after Copaka, I think was gone, but it might have been before, where they asked for them to give a voluntary sample of their DNA, and then one of the brothers told them to go fuck themselves. Now, we don't know which brother it was, but was it the Copaka family? There was yes. I think Copaka very much could have been the DNA on the knife sheath. And guess what? They will never test that DNA to Copaka to exclude him. And if they did, would you even trust them if they did at this point? Because if there is a massive cover-up to keep Kopaka's name out, are you going to trust them when they say, you know what, we did test it to Copaka and we found that it wasn't him? Of course, it's like, it sucks because on the one hand, I'm not even going to ask the question because they're never going to tell us.
Right.
But if you did ask them, they probably would just lie to you anyways and say, yeah,
right,
he's not on that knife sheath.
You would need a complete independent group.
Yeah. Independent. You need an independent, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing to me, I think that I feel the most strongly about in this whole situation, which in my opinion explains a lot of the other things, is that he's a decorated, highly decorated vet, right? And he fought in a very high profile, controversial war. And as I said before, I think Payne could have been brought into this investigation as a fixer, you know, because the military would not want it to get out that a highly decorated veteran from one of the most famous military organizations in the history of the military, the 82nd Airborne, they don't want that getting out, that a decorated vet brutally killed 4 people. Right. And that would, to me, would explain why they would want to completely shift the narrative. And it would be very powerful entities behind it, which all bets are off, you know, when the military and the feds are involved in covering something up. I mean, the history is undeniable of them doing that. So that to me is the reason why Payne was pushed into this case, and as a fixer to make sure certain information didn't get out. And that information could be very damning for the military, especially with all the controversy about CTE and PTSD with veterans.
Right.
Yeah.
This is an interesting comment. The Copaka didn't have any reason to kill, but again, you could say the same argument for Koberger. What was his reason to be there? So the only thing we can do really at this point, the only thing you could really do is theorize. So we know that Copaka has the military training, Koberger does not, right? So what would bring Copaka there? So you have to theorize. If this was about some kind of, CI thing, whether it's Kaylee or Ethan or Matt, whoever it was, and then something went wrong. Maybe someone was supposed to be taken out or attacked. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. And again, I still think that Ethan and Xana were taken out first. That until I see something else. I think they were attacked first, and I think Kaylee, and I think the key thing, again, we've mentioned it several times. Kaylee and Maddie's, again, it's not necessarily 100% proof of life. We still, is there some kind of voice message or something on Kaylee, on Jack D's phone? I don't know that. They haven't revealed that, but Kaylee and Maddie's phone both go silent at the same exact time. What was it, 2:54 or 2:56?
Yeah.
So that would make me think, right at that time, that's something was going down right at that moment. That did they see something that they weren't supposed to see, or they came across something that they weren't supposed to see? And if you have someone, not to say necessarily that the fraternity is the one that did the hit. It could be someone involved in the fraternity that also was involved in drugs or whatnot. And it's not far off to believe that, okay, they took out, or something went too far, someone got taken out, or two people got taken out, and now they have two other people they have to deal with, and they're not sure how to deal with that. There would be some kind of phone call or something would go to someone higher. Like, what do we do? What do we do with these? What do we do with these other people? We have witnesses. We have other people here. That's when I think Copaka would be brought in. You would have someone that's high up on the chain, whether it's like a Jonah Chapin or one of these higher guys that would call in, like a Copaka. I need you to take this out. I need you to take action. And then it's not far off to believe, even though, we have the proof now that the, MPD had a contract with the college that they're assigning officers to the fraternity, sororities, and all that. Could there be an officer or two that were compromised that are also, involved in some kind of drugs or something like that, and they also would be called in to be involved in this situation? And and there you go. You have a whole big, cover up.
Well, and we've got quite a bit of video to go through. I still want to get to this shocker. Well, not the shocker, but I want to get to this big hole. I fell down a rabbit hole and broke both my legs kind of thing that's coming up here shortly. I did see a user kind of was getting upset, saying that we're just ignoring the chat and not all the clues that they're putting in. I don't know what the clue they gave me. I've tried to look through, trying to find what it is you gave us. I will say this, and I don't know if it applies to you. A lot of people tell me their theory and then get mad because I just told you the truth and you're not repeating it. Everybody's theory is not something that we hold on this show. Right. And so don't get mad at us if it's not one of the theories that we hold true. And a lot of people do the same thing to me. Like, I told you what happened in this case and you're just ignoring it. I don't know if that happened, but
it's hard to, when there's 300 people in a chat, it's hard to see things sometimes too.
It is very hard. So if you want to
repeat and I see something going on here in the chat, and please be respectful of our mods. Our mods work hella hard to keep things running smoothly here in the chat and that. So I'm not sure what your issue is, but please be respectful of the mods. Don't make me start timing people out, okay? Because we all know I'm not afraid to do it.
Right.
Yeah. All right. We got some more shit to get through. Are you guys still in? Are you guys still in for the shit? Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Did they all come together a couple of months ago? And a month ago is when the event went down. So all these guys come together, apparently, maybe living together for a couple of months, a group of people with PTSD issues, schizophrenia, how much do they have in common? In a place that they're living where they don't have any furniture, what is the purpose for these guys coming together? And this guy will tell you that he doesn't have a job. He's not a student. He's just an entrepreneur and a musician, maybe a singer. So it makes you wonder what these guys have been brought together for, that have all these mental health issues and are living together in an apartment with no furniture. You understand what I'm saying? There's something fucking weird about this whole group of individuals. So I don't know that we need to riff on that too much, because we already kind of agreed that there's something weird. My point that I was trying to make on this is that he claims he's only lived there for a couple of months. He's only known Copaka for a couple of months. They have no furniture in their place. He even hints later on in places, and I think I might touch on it, that some of his stuff is at that apartment. He's got other stuff that's somewhere else. So were these guys all living somewhere else and just had some stuff at this universal coffee house apartment place, that it wasn't really their main place? He just has some stuff there. What brought these guys together? Now I'm going to cover a different issue, which is about PTSD again, and what some of the rumors are that could have happened if Copaka was at the 1122 King Road residence, based on what you hear here. All right, so
just don't know where the mood shift would be causing that. And
I forgot to mention one more thing. He did say 1 minute Brent Copaka would be perfectly fine and happy, and the next he would be angry and shouting and cursing. Why is that interesting? Again, there are rumors. For fuck's sake, this case and its rumors. There are rumors out there that Brent Copaka may have been at the house buying drugs, for example, and that something happened and he snapped. A PTSD moment came back to him or something like that, and he snapped and he just lost his shit and killed people there at the house that night. This is the kind of thing this roommate's describing. One second he's perfectly fine, and the next he's just angry, and he doesn't use the word snap, but he goes from extremes. 1 minute he's happy and everything's fine, to the next minute he's angry and he's cursing, and as you're hearing, thinking that people are out to get him and whatever. So did a paranoid triggering event happen? We have to ask. And shit happened unexpectedly, very, very quickly. If that's the case, there are those on my channel who believe, like Joe from State of the Deep and others, who say the military itself may want to cover up that a decorated vet with multiple decorations and tours of duty and Purple Heart and nothing but good things about him, they would not want it to come out that another vet just snapped with PTSD and murdered a bunch of people. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
You got to unmute yourself.
Oh yeah, Dago's got himself.
I'm talking a lot tonight, but this subject really has me lit. And I have a theory that I had. Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. When I found out that the girlfriend had that ex-girlfriend had that as a previous address, what you just said was something I sat here and literally wrote in my notebook one night after we did this. Now, this is a pure theory, folks. What if, absolutely alleged, but what if he's drinking one night or something happens, okay, and he goes heading back that direction, gets a ride over there from somebody that lives close to him. Remember this, thinking that in his mind or whatever, she lives there, goes to the wrong house, okay? Or maybe goes to that house. She doesn't live there anymore, and he's flipping out. Maybe he's drinking, okay, and heads next door looking for her and snaps because she's not to be found, and he's looking for her, thinks people are lying to him or something, and just goes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very
I'm just
possible.
being like,
yeah, it's
this
possible.
is absolutely 1,000,001% alleged, folks. But what if is all I'm saying. I've heard of things like this happening, okay?
Yeah.
Where people get confused, lost, and they just flip, okay? Especially if you have something going on already.
I mean, he
So,
could have
and-
known them as well. We have not been able to get anything to clarify that, but
Yeah.
some people in the chat have said he knew Maddie and Kaylee. It's
Right.
very possible if you see how small that area is.
Yes. So again,
yeah,
guys,
and again,
go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I was
I'm
just,
sorry. Yeah, no, we're both like, oh, we got so much to say.
all I was gonna say was that has never been proven, folks. It's nowhere close to a fact. It's a theory I came up with after finding out that his girlfriend lived in that house previously. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lee. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
And there's, again, along that idea, it's theory crafting. All we're doing is asking questions because, again, that's the same kind of thing they did to try to find a killer. Like, what if it was just this guy over there that seems to have problems with women? There's a misogynist over in WSU. Maybe he's the killer, right? So why is it okay for them to do that and not us to ask questions like, what if Copaka was in the house? What if Copaka snapped? What if Copaka was friends like Kohberger, as I've said that I think that he was? And what if he texted Kohberger and said, hey, dude, I just fucked up. I need some help. Come pick me up. I just got myself into a fucking trouble. And what if that's why Kohberger would keep his mouth shut about it and like, hey, has anybody else been arrested with this kind of thing? Because he knows what happened, but maybe he's keeping his fucking mouth shut about it. I don't know. There's lots of questions you have to ask yourself. Robin, I see your smoke again.
The questions I have are kind of like plot wise, because that's kind of how my mind works with stuff. Even if he is involved, he can't have been the only one because you've got cleanup, you've got time. I mean, with all the wounds, even someone like Brent, who has those kind of capabilities, time wise, you're talking, close to 100 different wounds. You're still talking about one guy fighting four different people. We know that these murders did not happen quickly. So was he the patsy that they were going to settle on? And what if he was? Obviously, whoever was setting him up was okay with everyone knowing that this, a decorated vet with PTSD issues, it was going to be okay with them to have him known. It's like they were purposely potentially throwing him under the bus, making it that he would make sense to be. But then, like you're saying, I'm not sure, was it you, Joe, that said that somebody screwed up and killed him and they weren't supposed to have killed him?
Well, that's what DA was saying. DA said,
I couldn't remember who said it. Sorry. ADHD strikes again.
Yeah, I was theorizing about whether or not Moscow Police Department showed up during that event because they were planning on basically connecting to the 1122, and then somebody accidentally shot and killed him, and then they were like, "Well, now we got damage control because he wasn't supposed to get killed." I do want to say I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm pretty sure this comment, he didn't ask that, came up when I said the famous line Brian Kohberger said, "Wasn't anybody else arrested at this?" This statement is going to make me lose my mind because I saw a reporter say on TV that's what he
created. That
it was Brian Enton.
Right. But listen, then other people will say he never said that, and no one ever said that. Well, somebody did say it because it was a reporter that said it. I saw it myself, but it was a reporter. It wasn't Brian Kohberger. And then I've heard other people say, I saw Brian Kohberger say it himself. And yet we are still 3 years later fighting about whether or not he actually said, was anybody else arrested in connection with this? So is it like, can we put it to bed? Because I know a reporter said it. I watched it.
It was,
I don't know that.
I can tell you for sure, it was his attorney, Brian's attorney said that was not stated by Brian, that Brian Enton, and he even said it before. It came out that Brian lied about it. Enton lied about it and said he made it up or something like that. But the statement that was true that was made to Brian or from Brian's attorney was that Brian said, I can't wait to be exonerated for this. That was a factual statement. The other one was something Brian Enton created, supposedly. That's how it came out.
Okay, I feel pretty good about that one. I think I'm convinced the only place I've ever seen it is a reporter saying it, right? So it's a Brian Enton thing, and I do remember the attorney saying that Kohberger couldn't wait to be exonerated. I remember that. So maybe we can't stop saying Brian Kohberger said this, right? Because it seems to have been an invention by somebody. Right. Yeah. All right. let's get to a few more. We got some more clips. Damn it, we're going slow. All right, here we go.
How did you get out of the apartment?
I snuck out. I made sure he wasn't in the room, and I got out, and my church friends got me out of there.
Okay.
We tried to get Christian to tag along, but for some reason he didn't want to tag along. So
that part is a little. I'm nitpicking. I snuck out because I made sure he wasn't in the room. Well, he wasn't in the room with you because you had the door shut and he's threatening to put a bullet through your door. So he wasn't in the room with you. Maybe he means he wasn't in the living room. So he made sure he wasn't in the main room and he snuck out, and that's fine. And they tried to get Christian to come with him, but Christian didn't come out right away. That's fine. It makes all sense. That his church friends got him out of the house is bizarre to me. Where the hell did the church friends come in, and how did the church friends get into the house? So that's part of my confusion is like, so your church friends helped you sneak out of the house. Where the hell are the church friends? And again, there's a part in this discussion where he talks about being in a cult or getting out of a cult, and we've already covered some of that stuff about the church stuff. We'll leave it at that. I think I may even replay a little portion where the officer asks him how he got out of the house, and because I focus on a different part of it, I think. But do you guys have any comments about that clip, or you want to just move to the next one? Nope, no comments. All right.
I'm talking too much tonight anyway.
No, you're not. You're good.
Fortunate that it had to end that way. So
how did you get out of the apartment?
I snuck out. I made sure he wasn't in the room, and I got out, and my church friends got me out of there.
Okay.
We tried to get Christian to tag along, but for some reason he didn't want to tag along. So, yeah, it was just a lot to take in. I was hoping that when the news said the suspect, I thought in my mind, I was hoping it wasn't him. I'm like, well, is it someone that they think is behind this scheme or plan or whatever? But when I found out it was the guy, I was like, oh, well, that's not what I was expecting. But
that whole fucking thing, I keep running it through my head. I'm good friends with Brent. I knew him for 2 months. We're good friends. And now he's referring to him as that guy. When they said the suspect had been shot, I was hoping they weren't referring to him, that maybe it was whoever was behind this whole scheme. And then I found out it was that guy. Not your roommate that I found out was my roommate, or I found out it was Brent. Like, why are you wording it the way you are? Then I found out it was that guy. That guy? I thought that guy was your friend, your close friend for 2 months. Everything about, I'm just nitpicking the piss out of it because it just doesn't, 1 second, he's just referring to him as the suspect and that guy. And the other second, he's like, he's a good friend of mine. I'm really close with him. But he never once. I don't think once does he ever say Brent's name. But they're really close. But I don't think he ever says his name, and he refers to him as that guy. When I heard the suspect was shot, I was hoping it wasn't going to be, but it ended up being that guy. That guy? The guy that you're close with is that guy? Not only that, but what's that shit about the scheme? Maybe it was whoever was behind this whole scheme. That shit's bending my mind. Well, at first I was thinking, I hope it's not my roommate, but then I heard it was that guy. But and I thought, well, maybe it was whoever's behind this whole scheme. What the fuck does that mean? Whoever's behind this whole scheme.
Yeah. And where's the follow-up questions?
Yeah.
Where are the follow-up?
Not a lot of follow-up
your church
questions.
friends got you the fuck out of there. What do you mean?
Yeah. Right. Can you explain that?
Did they come up? We know that the pastor drove him somewhere afterwards, but the way he says it makes it sound like they came up and helped him sneak out of the place.
Right. And how are they doing that?
Right.
Yeah, thanks for the super sticker, 199 for the Natasha Hill. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Yeah, I mean,
narrative building at its best.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to nitpick the shit out of it, but like, how do you not question things like, well, maybe it was whoever was behind this scheme? I think I ranted about that on a different clip that I didn't share because I was trying to not have to repeat the same clip like 3 times. But several things bother me. Again, He's talking about his roommate who he's close with, and he's like, well, I was hoping it wasn't him, but when I found out it was that guy, why wouldn't you say when I found out it was my roommate? Why wouldn't you even say when I found out it was Brent, I was disappointed? Like, never does he refer to him as Brent. It's just like that guy who was living there.
Right.
How close could they have been?
Not at all, in my opinion. If you know somebody, Jesus Christ, I've known you guys for as long as I've known you, and I know all your names. I'm going to refer to you by your names.
Yeah.
Period. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
There's no other option, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless he didn't really live there.
Right.
Because if he didn't really live there, and all right, so here's something that popped into my head earlier. We've heard rumors. I've seen it in the chat. I've read stuff on Reddit that it's considered or rumored that Brent was, involved with drugs in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
Even so far as I've seen theories that he was dealing.
Drug dealer, yeah.
Right. Now, you have this room, this apartment where apparently there was hardly any furniture, and it didn't present as a place that a bunch of people are living in, right? Could it have been a trap house? Could it have been a drug spot? And they knew he was going to be there. And, that would at least explain like some of the inconsistencies. Like if the guy only knew him through that and didn't really know him well, and it would also explain some of the inconsistencies. Maybe they didn't want it to get out that he didn't live there, because maybe they didn't want it to get out that there was a drug house at the Coffee House Apartments.
Yeah, and I gotta say, we're nearing me getting into the dangerous territory where I go off the rails a little bit again, because I've had a insider, if you will, to Moscow telling me to look at a certain area that I have been reluctant to talk about on the channel, but it comes up in this interview, and we're really getting close to it now. So I'm gonna play us out with a few more pieces and go off the rails tonight a little bit. All right, so
yeah, the thought of going back to that apartment just to get my stuff, down later in the week or next.
And is that an odd statement or not? The thought of going back to that apartment, not my apartment. Like, am I nitpicking words? The thought of going back to that apartment bothers him, right? Not my apartment. The thought of going back to my apartment? No, the thought of going back to that apartment. Being that there's an utter lack of furniture in the apartment, that there's no bed in Brent Copaka's room, and it may sound like there's not a nightstand in this guy's room because his medicine's on the floor. It seems like this apartment that they're all staying in for the last maybe 2 months has no furniture in it. How long have they been really staying there? Is it a permanent residence or a temporary crash pad? And why does he refer to it as that apartment and not my apartment? Maybe I'm nitpicking. He also states that some of his stuff is at that apartment, indicating that the rest of his stuff is somewhere else. So several times in this interview, he refers to that apartment as that apartment and not my apartment. Is that just nitpicking? Or, I mean, some people say, hey, I would refer to, if a murder had just happened at my place, I would say, like, okay, let's say it happened at my house. I could say, I'm not sure I could go back to that house. I could say that about my own house, maybe. I could see myself saying that. So some people say, well, there's nothing odd about the wording saying, I don't want to go back to that house or that apartment, even if it is your own. But is it potentially telling when he says some of my stuff is there, there's no furniture, like somebody's even living there, and he's saying, and he even says, the only reason I need to go back to that place is to get my medication. Well, if it's your place, don't you have a lot more reasons to go back to get your shit? But apparently the only reason he has to go back to that apartment is to get his medications.
There's nothing in the way that he acts that indicates that he considers that place his home. Right. Okay. Not his home where he resides. It's this whole conversation is just very, very bizarre.
Yeah.
He doesn't say the words home, period. That's how we refer. I'm going home. I'm going to go home.
Right.
I'm going to go back to my house. I'm going to go back to my place, my apartment. None of that comes out of his mouth ever. So,
and I just wanted to play devil's advocate on one talking point that's come up quite a bit. The phone being wiped, right? If Copaka was experiencing severe paranoia and he thought the government and the police were after him, it wouldn't surprise me that he would wipe his phone.
Right.
Because if he's paranoid, that would be something I could see somebody doing.
Well, see, somebody asked Darren Duncan that, I think, in one of the interviews I saw, would he have ever done something like that? And Darren swore up and down that as long as he's known him, never would he do something like that, no matter what, because he didn't want to lose like his number and his other family's numbers and stuff like that, because he couldn't remember them by heart. But that's a great point, Joe. That's a great point.
Because if he's in a psychotic episode, like he maybe is super paranoid. Oh, they're going to find things about my family, or they're going to find things about so-and-so. Again, I'm just...
it's great to play devil's advocates with your own positions. And Whitney James, thanks for being a member for a full solid month, getting into your second month. And yeah, these interviews feel a lot like the Dylan Bethany. And so I did have a clip of, remember I said that at some point he says about how he has some stuff over there. Well, we have it right here. We have that clip real quick.
I have stuff over there.
This week, it's gonna be weird because, I won't see him again, and I won't, I have stuff over there, but I don't.
And again, he says, I have stuff over there. It's going to be weird going back to that apartment, but I have stuff over there. Where's the rest of your stuff? Are you living there or not? Is it my apartment or is it that apartment? Is it my stuff or I have stuff over there? Like, every part of this conversation to me feels like this is a temporary place where these guys are holed up at, not their permanent residence. I have stuff over there. It's going to be weird going back to that apartment, not my apartment. Again, maybe I'm nitpicking. All right. So here's where I'm going to get into I told the members when I did this section, this is shit I'm not going to say publicly. Like, it's just too fucking out there. And here I am going, fuck it, we'll do it live. Because I just decided it was worth a talking point, and I want to hear my panel comment on it. This has to do again with I keep wanting to say an informant. I don't have an informant. I have an insider who lives in Moscow who has been talking to me about protection programs that exist for getting people out of sex trafficking and out of the church cult in the area. You remember this guy said, I just got out of a cult. It's been the weirdest year of my life. I just got out of a cult. So we're going to delve into the idea of, like I said, before this was even aired, before I even saw this interview, I had somebody telling me in Moscow, yeah, there's a whole fucking cult here, atmosphere, and they have extraction options for people to get out of the cult if they're in it. This guy says, I just got out of a cult. Is that what this house was? And let's talk about it after you hear this receipt.
I gotta say, this has been a very odd year for me. I mean,
are you a student?
No.
I'm
an entrepreneur, singer, but I'm not a student. No, this is just, I'm gonna be honest. It's just this has probably been the weirdest year of my life. It's probably the oddest year of my life, my whole life. And so much has happened, and not even a year's time. From getting out of a cult to now this. I mean,
full stop. This has been a really weird year, less than a year. The weirdest year of my life. I just got out of a cult. These for me are red flags. That's just it. I'm not saying the story is not true. I'm just saying these are red flags. I don't understand what appears to be temporary living situation of these three guys, all of which apparently, if you believe this, and again, I haven't seen Christian's interview. That's I'm sure on the data dump I just got. I got 50 gigabytes or more of data dumped on me with body cameras. So I'm sure when the officer says I got to go next door and interview Christian or whatever, that's going to be another body camera footage I'm going to see. But you've got a group of guys living together with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, all kinds of mental health disorders, with no furniture in their place. This guy is going through the weirdest time of his life, in which he just got out of a cult. Now, I'm going to riff on something for members only. This is, it's members only, right? I've got somebody in Moscow that tells me there's a major sex trafficking, drug trafficking, and cult-like religious behavior in Moscow, Idaho. And that I've been told, and I don't have the receipts, so I'm telling you, I don't have the receipts, that there is witness protection all over that town by the federal government for people who have gotten trapped in this cult. I've heard this on the down low. Before this interview, I was told that there are relocation houses and witness protection houses in the area because there's a church that's running some kind of crazy cult and sex trafficking and all kinds of shit, and that people who want out of that system can get witness protection and put in places. Now, maybe I'm running way fucking too far down the road for this, but this guy just told you he just got out of a cult, and it's been one of the weirdest years of his life. If there's any truth to the rumor that I'm hearing on the down low, that there is a cult, religious organization type cult-like material, and that the FBI and other places, our government agencies, are in the area helping people get out of this cult and into safe houses, is this apartment where these guys at a safe house? And did they come out of a cult together? Is that what's going on? Is that crazy? So what do you guys think about that concept? So
well, is the cult alleged in Moscow?
Yes,
because I mean, you're not doing a great job of witness protection if you're putting them 3 miles away or 4 miles away.
There's
12 miles, but it's
All
not,
right.
it's not just that. Like, it would be a temporary situation, right? Like, so maybe there would be a permanent, I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Could it have been a temporary type situation? The fact that he says, I just got out of a cult, and I was in a mental facility. He also says that. Did they stick a bunch of guys who got pulled out of a similar situation together in some little temporary holding place while they figure out a long-term solution for them? That's what I'm asking.
Very possibly, yeah.
Someone in the chat mentioned that they were sure that was a I forget their exact words, like a halfway house type of a thing. That location where they were at, which is very possible, but
Yeah,
it
but
still doesn't
wouldn't they
explain the no furniture, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, they would have to have a caretaker, I would imagine, in the middle of that situation for a halfway house, I would think.
All right, let's finish up with my crazy conspiracy theory question. I think we're very near the end of this, my clips, and then we can close out with last thoughts. Yeah, I have very little left. All right. But to finish my thought, did these guys get extracted? Is that house, is the apartment at the Coffee House Apartments, is there any part of uncraziness that says these guys could have been extracted from a cult? He literally said, this is the weirdest year of my life. I just got out of a cult. Is that the common connection with these guys, and why their apartment is just a temporary living situation with no furniture? Is that they were literally just got out of an extraction type event from a cult and were staying in this apartment? It would make some sense to me. And I'll admit, some sense is the key word. It doesn't make entire sense.
I feel like he died in vain because I think the public think he was
I just played my
massive.
video again. Let's remove that. There we go. So thanks for sticking with me for like a full 2 hours of going through those clips. But those are Those are the clips I found interesting in the first 40 minutes of the like 50 hours of body worn camera that they dumped on me today. So maybe I need to stop having so many questions.
Someone in the chat commented on what Diego said, and I wanted to add something to that. They said, well, if it was a halfway house type of thing, then they'd have someone that would visit them there to check on them, which is true.
Yeah.
But that could be the case. I mean, it could, for all we know, Copaka could have been in treatment.
Yeah.
You know, because it's very, very common if people have severe mental illness and PTSD, they get involved with drugs. It's self-medicating, drugs and alcohol.
So it's a stupid thing to say, but since you just brought it up, okay. So if they have a contact, if they get extracted and they have a contact, and they're getting extracted from Moscow, a church cult in Moscow, could Fry and Payne and whatever had a reason to go check on their guys that have gotten just out of the cult in Moscow, Idaho, and are over in Pullman in a halfway house? Could that have been? I mean, is that crazy to ask the question?
Not even close. No, not even close.
But what I was getting to, just for clarification, is that house, I'm kind of going away from the extraction idea and going with, it was sort of people that were in treatment for drugs. And that was sort of like their little, you know, somewhat of a halfway house. Because if Copaka could have been in that same situation, these guys could have been in that same situation. And there's a mental health component where they're getting meds and someone, you know, checks on them and makes sure that they're taking their meds, things like that. That could explain why, you know, this guy's saying he's got to get his meds, and if Copaka has schizophrenia, he could have been not taking his meds when we saw him having those episodes, because a lot of people don't take their meds a lot of times. So anyway, I digress.
And I will tell you, like, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say there was another video put out where Copaka had an episode a while before that at a hotel, a local hotel around this area somewhere. I can't remember exactly where the police were called because he was flipping out, thinking that again, same situation. Somebody was either following him or was
trying to kill him. Yeah.
And that was another statement that he had heard from his sister or something, sister-in-law or something like that.
Yes. Yep.
I just watched that video actually yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's there too, to add to the mix of this. I just thought about it a few minutes ago. So
I've heard so many, I don't even want to get into it. I've heard so many rumors about the church and the sex trafficking. You know, there was rumors that Kaylee was interested in looking into sexual predators in the area, that she was obsessed with that kind of stuff. And some people say, well, did she stumble upon a sex trafficking ring in the area? Like, we need another theory, like I say, like a hole in the head. But there's theories that Kaylee got wind of some of the sex trafficking in Moscow through the church and things like this. And like, it's just so much. But this is what we do, right? We sit there and we ask questions, and then we get better follow-on questions. Like, oh, okay, so now that we know this happened, let's get the body-worn camera footage from this night or this event or whatever. So every little clue leads to another clue to look at. And if it all dries up, then it all dries up. But we're pulling threads, as Joe says. Just pull a thread until that thread breaks or whatever, and then you move and pull a new thread.
You know, so there's something interesting, you guys, that I was watching Miss Potts before I came here, right? She was reading through all the documents. How I missed it, I don't know. But at one point, she's reading through, they're talking about Brian Koberger, and she hits this point where they're talking about this situation that Brian had looked into or something like that when he was at DeSales about, it was called Cash for Kids.
Oh, I was going to say, is it going to be the Cash for Kids? Yeah.
And scandal thing. So one more little piece of whatever you want to add to that situation. I just was like, wow. Okay.
Yeah. For those who aren't familiar with the Cash for Kids thing, Koberger was apparently, and I think it was a Pennsylvania case. I think Cash for Kids was a Pennsylvania case. 2 judges, if I recall, so correct me if I'm wrong. 2 judges basically in a documentary that exposed, the 2 judges were basically engaging in a deal where they would help convict juveniles and send them to juvenile detention centers for correctional measures on the flimsiest of evidence, because they were getting kickbacks. They were getting paid to send children to detention, essentially. And so they found out that these judges were taking kickbacks and were basically sending kids and giving them criminal records for kickback money because there was good money to do so. And so it was called Cash for Kids. And where Kohberger comes in is Kohberger allegedly had a download of that video file, the Cash for Kids documentary, on his computer. Now, here's the thing that busts me up every single time. The dude's into criminology. That's what he does. He's interested in crimes. He's in Pennsylvania where the crimes happened. I think it was a Pennsylvania crime. And yet, just like mainstream media bullshit, oh, look at this creepy guy was into this Cash for Kids shit. Right. It's a fucking criminal case in his state. And it's like the media will spin any fucking thing they can to show guilt. So early on, it was one of those other things. Look at this creepy motherfucker has this Cash for Kids thing on his computer.
Well, they won't look at it the other way, where he could have been looking into it to try to investigate it, to try to find out if there was more situation. I mean, that's what he was probably more than likely doing, you guys.
Yeah.
Nothing like what they said. I mean, it's ridiculous. So
how about the you guys remember this one? He had to, like, the media pushed this for a while. He had some dark porn related sites.
Yes,
they never had any substantiation behind it whatsoever.
Well, just like Lucy said earlier, that they found a book there that was college age girls being essayed or something like that. And they're probably thinking that's weird porn too, but it's actually part of his studies more than likely. 90% of what they found on his phone and in his apartment was more than likely based on what he was studying. You know what I mean? So it's ridiculous.
Where's the common sense? I mean, come on.
And I did a presentation at a professional conference from my university about internet predators. Does that make me an internet predator? It's like the same kind of logic.
We're coming after you, JJ.
Yeah, if you study forensic psychology and things like that, you do presentations about dark shit.
Right. And like I said, all of that stuff he was looking into 100%, guys. So it's not dark. He's looking to help out probably or learn about it. So it's
looks like we got is Phoenix Talks.
Yeah. I wanted to give a shout out. Yeah, Phoenix Talks is here.
Hey, Phoenix, if you want to, we're getting close to wrapping up, but if you want to take an invite, Robin, throw the invite out there and see if Phoenix wants to join us on stage to say hello. If not, she doesn't have to do so. But when I saw Phoenix Talks jump into the chat, thought I'd give Phoenix a shot to jump up here on stage with us if she chooses to do so. So there's the link for StreamYard if you want to jump backstage on another night. She's going to come up on another night. Okay,
we also got 5 memberships were gifted by Jules.
Yeah, I was meaning to. Yes, thank you so much for the memberships. For those who don't know, you do need to make sure you've got memberships turned on so that you can receive gift memberships when somebody does that. Again, I say it every single time. Jules actually paid for 5 memberships for the month for 5 people. So if you have your membership gifting turned on, you can receive that for free. It's no obligation. You won't be auto billed and all that good stuff. Well, guys, we spent the entire night talking about Idaho 4. I've got stuff that I still need to do to try to prepare my morning video on Delphi, which I'm hoping to have out. I mean, eventually I might just take a day off. Fuck it. If I don't have something, I'm not going to make something up just to talk. But I think I've got plenty to talk about Delphi. I had some problems. I was talking to Dago about it. What I wanted to do was kind of cover some of those early Richard Allen confessed videos that is on camera with him and the detective shouting him into a confession kind of thing. And I wanted to play that. And every single video of the confession is a mainstream media news source saying, watch this shocking confession that happens right here. And it's like, I don't want to see your clipped bullshit. Just give me the raw feed of the interrogation and so I can do some analysis of it. And no, I can't find raw feeds anywhere. All I find is mainstream media saying, this next shocking admission comes from Richard Allen. I don't want to fucking hear your bullshit. So hopefully I can find something because I wanted to kind of comment on that from my own perspective, not with mainstream media telling me how I should feel about it like they do all the time.
I think Dago has it, I believe, right?
The one that I have is the one.
Yeah,
he
because
doesn't.
You showed it.
It's part of.
It's mainstream media.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it came from a media source. Otherwise,
right. Okay.
I'm gonna keep looking. If by chance I find something in the morning, I'll send it over.
I mean, I'll go with mainstream media sources if I have to, but they always spin it before you see it, and and they always clip it down to the most important part that makes him look guilty instead of the context that goes before. They'll never show you the shit that looks interesting on the both sides of it. They'll show here's the moment that we snipped out for 30 seconds of him saying, "Yeah, I did it." He's done.
I got lucky with the one that I played because I thought they would clip it too, but it does actually have the portion in it where it says, "No, I have to tell you this. There's someone standing here." That's the one I wanted everybody to hear at that point, basically pointing to the point that he's being coerced into what he's saying.
Right.
I do have that one, but that was put out by Court TV or Long Crime. I can't remember.
Well, at least with Court TV and some of those, Court TV is a little better about playing fuller pieces. That's for sure. So if you have it handy, Dago, I would love you to shoot it for me over in Discord or something like that, so I can at least take a look at it tonight. But
yeah, I'll pull up the one I have and send it to you. If you can use it, go for it.
All right. So here's what we're gonna do: round the horn. Dago first, JJ, then 1-1, then Robin, and then I'll close. So you got anything for the closing tonight, Dago?
First off, great topic tonight. I could go on for 2-3 more hours on this tonight with what you're showing. I'm sorry I talked so much tonight, but when I get excited, the passion comes forward and I just can't help myself. So my apologies on that, guys. If I talked over anybody, I'm deeply sorry. My ADHD, if I have a thought, if I don't say it now, I will forget it. So I apologize for that too. Thank you again for having me. I want to thank the Blue Crew for being here as always, and any of the True Crime Cafe community for jumping in here. I really appreciate that, guys, as well. And again, thank you so much to the, I'm going to say it wrong, Denzians?
Yeah, denizens
Denizens for welcoming us all over here again. I appreciate that so very much. Thank you to 1-1, JJ, Robin, and Lee for having us all here. We appreciate it. And again, very, very amazing topic tonight, Lee. I really appreciate you having me here for this.
Awesome. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. We enjoyed it as well. And you don't need to apologize about talking, because that's what we do for a living here, I guess, is we talk a lot. So it is what it is. And thanks. And I can't wait to get Ali Benevento in here with our guests. So I hope you get to make it for that night, Dago. You know, Joe and all of you should be here. 1-1 should be here when Ali gets here. So she's got, I even told her, I said, I'm going to send you a text message in the morning, because she goes, it's already on my calendar. I won't forget. She's one of those people, like, I don't have to send her a reminder. She won't forget. So I need to make sure I send her the actual link to StreamYard so she can get on the show. It'd be me that's going to forget something, if anything. JJ, what do you got?
Yeah, great show, man. Everybody, it was really the Copaka thing is something, you know, I certainly have talked a lot about it with DA, and there's a lot of angles to it, in my opinion. I think there's a lot to it, and so I think that's a thread that we should continue to pull, and I'm sure we will. And again, to reiterate, it'd be kind of an interesting thing to see what everybody thinks about trying to obtain our own audio video, you know, analyst.
Yeah, right.
I think for what we've discussed already and going forward, I think that would be really great. So thank you to Dago, 1-1, Robin, and you, DA. I won't be here tomorrow, but I'll be back on Thursday.
Yay.
So I look forward to seeing you guys all again. And thanks again to the Den. I'll see you guys all soon.
Perfect.
Better, Joe.
Yeah. 1-1, better late than never. How you doing? What's going on? What's your closing thought for the night?
Good. Thanks everyone for coming out. True Crime Cafe. Thanks to all you guys, mods, Dago. Great partnership. It's great discussion with all of you, JJ, Dago, Robin, Lee. Lee, have amazing videos, amazing content coming out. I love all of it, and thanks to our amazing community, you know, that the donations and stuff that you're putting forth with this for the GoFundMe, you know, where it's being used for good, and you know, it's being used for the show, it's being used to evaluate, go over these talking points. this is what we have to do. We have to discuss, theorize. I agree with JJ, the Copaka angle. There's multiple threads, angles to look at with that. It seems like there's a lot of meat on the bone where it's like we're almost there. We just need a few more receipts. Like I'd love to have the actual proof of like connecting Copaka to, you know, that he was actually friends with Kohlberger, or, you know, just a few more things. I feel like we're almost
So
there.
close.
We're getting there. We're so close. It's like just almost there. But thanks again, Lee, for having us. Great show as always. Make sure everyone subscribes and keep fighting for truth. Keep those questions coming. If you don't want to pop up on the show, you know, or you have some stage fright, I know some people, you know, they get a little nervous or whatever. Just keep putting your questions in the chat, and we'll do our best, you know, that we can to get to them. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. And Robin, the co-producer of the show and this, you know, and workhorse behind the scenes, what do you have for closing today?
Well, just like the rest of you guys, you know, thank you to each and every person who comes to the shows, whether it's on our channel side, whether it's over in the sauce on Dago's channel. We appreciate you guys so much, you know. But this video tonight, Lee, this was amazing because it just shows you another whole bizarre angle to this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like we need another bizarre angle.
Right? But it is another interesting point. I mean, why weren't the cops asking this dude specifics about you're so worried about nitpicking. I'm sitting here, I'm like, what is the matter with these cops? Why aren't they asking more questions? So, no, this was absolutely fascinating. It really was. And I can't wait to see all the rest of the stuff that you got. I mean, 50 terabytes or gigabytes or whatever it is. I mean, this is just fascinating. So, but thanks for everyone for coming along on this journey with us. We can't stop. We can't let off the gas. We have to keep going. Thank you for each and every one of you who have donated money to the cause of, you know, covering costs for postage for the records. For each and every one of you on the replay crew, you know, thank you for coming out to the lives, but thank you for all the people who watch on our replay crew. We couldn't do this without you guys either. We love you all, and just this community just rocks. Just
for sure. And as a closing thought, I will tell you, because I have so many videos to go through from the Pullman dump that they gave me. By the way, I don't know if I told you, I decided to quickly jump ahead to the 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning time frame video body worn camera just to see the shooting of Brent Copaka. And out of all the files they sent me, that file's corrupted. It won't play. I shit you fucking not. The file that's the critical time frame of the shooting is corrupted and will not play. So I have to go back and ask them to please send the file.
Surprise.
so
what are the odds of that?
Yeah,
it's a joke at this point. Last thing I'll tell you, I meant to tell you this, but I had to get, because there's so many videos to go through, what I'm planning on doing is kind of a little bit what we did tonight. I'm going to go ahead and do member only lives and watch them live while recording it for members only. So if you want to jump in and watch me watching it live, real time, and giving my thoughts, then what I'll do is I'll take the best moments of those, clip it out, and maybe show it on the panel at night and saying, here's what I talked about on the members only live today, kind of like we did today, but maybe not for the full 2 hours. But I'll try to do, whenever I get something cool from those things on the members only lives, I'll clip out the best parts and we'll talk about it on panel.
I would love to join you for that.
Yeah.
When are you going to do those?
I'm not going to be on a schedule. I just, whenever I got a few more minutes, I'm going to go, I got an hour. I'm going to go open up another. So it's not going to be on a schedule, but I will gladly text you when I'm about to go live. And I would love to have you come on anytime you catch me doing a members only live to join me. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks. And again, yes, we'll be here for tomorrow, but I can't keep not plugging. Thursday night's a special treat. Tomorrow's going to be good too. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure I'm going to have some kind of new snippets to show from the new body-worn camera stuff that I'm getting in the Copaka situation. I'll have more for you. So it'll be cool tomorrow night too. But Thursday night, we're going to have Ali Benevento, criminal defense attorney from South Carolina, talking about Brian Koberger and Luigi Mangione. Don't miss Thursday night show, but also don't miss tomorrow night show. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, everyone.